Now, you've obviously seen the title of this video and you've clicked and you thought, how the hell are you making 80 mil an hour during fishing festivals? This must be ridiculous, this must be clickbait. And it kind of is for the most part. I'll explain it later. Get scammed, El Bozo, clickbaited, all that kind of stuff. But this video is basically explaining the best ways to do fishing festivals, the best ways to make money from fishing festivals, the best ways to get bestiary and your Skyblock XP from fishing festivals. From my experience, I've done 8 fishing festivals since the Megalodon buff, some of them with the Megalodon bug, some of them without the Megalodon bug, and just sort of giving my insight into what I think is the best way to approach doing these fishing festivals for sort of mid to late game players that maybe are a bit confused on how to approach these things. So yeah, let's get into the video. So the 3 methods I used for my testing, and the 3 that I found to be the most popular, are either solo barn fishing, witch mask fishing, or frozen blaze fishing. Now each one of these has their own quirks and downsides that I'll get into in a minute, and obviously some of them are better for money than others and some of them are better for XP than others. So the first method, obviously being solo barn fishing, all you have to do very simply is sitting in a barn and just fishing the sea creatures over the side, and then once you hit the sea creature cap, swapping off to your magic find set like Sorrow or something. And then what I personally do is holding out a fire veil with a Daedalus axe and then killing all the mobs with that, because then I gain my looting buff and my magic find from my Daedalus axe, and also wearing the Sorrow armor. The second method obviously would be witch masking, which is where instead of wearing your normal fishing helmet or whatever, you would use a witch mask instead, and the bats from the witch mask would fly down and get you loot share in a group of fishers, gain XP that way or gain drops from that way. And this is obviously a lot easier than solo barn fishing because you don't have to go down every single time you hit cap and go to kill the sea creatures, so there's benefits to that. And then the third method obviously being frozen blaze fishing, which is what you see in the background gameplay of this video, which is just sitting in a group with people and just fishing away and letting the frozen blaze AoE just kill the sea creatures slowly. Now obviously I'll get into the actual money breakdown of the methods that I used later in the video, but as just a quick summary now before I actually do the proper money breakdown and all of that kind of stuff, my personal opinion is if you are looking for the most money is doing solo barn fishing, because you can obviously switch off to your magic find armor then and using like a looting 5 weapon if you have one available or etc. In order to gain like the most drops possible, and that is basically what I saw the most profits from, and I'll show you this in the Excel spreadsheet later. If you want XP, it's a bit of a toss-up between Frozen Blaze and Witch Mask. Personally, I would rather go over to using Witch Mask, because Frozen Blaze obviously carries the negative benefit of not having as much sea creature chance as using 3/4 Magma Lord or whatever fishing set you have, even if you're not using the helmet of that set. So it's a lot easier, especially if Marina doesn't have the 15% sea creature chance buff. It's a lot easier to hit 100% sea creature chance and keeping that fishing speed relatively decent compared to using Frozen Blaze. Now obviously if you have a Frozen Blaze set that's, you know, fully submerged, recommed, bobbing time 3 or higher, etc., you may find it even a bit more beneficial to do Frozen Blaze, but obviously this is more of a guide to those that are slowly getting into it, so you might not have these resources available. Now moving on to the actual gear used for these tests. In every single test I used my Expertise 10 Rod of the Sea with the pitch-in reforge, and basically fully maxed out apart from a few enchants that don't really matter here and there. And I always make sure to use a level 100 Megalodon, either with the washed up souvenir if I was barn fishing or witch mask fishing, or if I was Frozen Blaze fishing I would use a Shelmet on it, obviously because I don't like taking knockback while doing Frozen Blaze fishing, because obviously the mobs can hit you. For the equipment, I used a Snowy Rift necklace recombobulated to Mythic for the most fishing speed, and then 3/4 Fin Wave fishing equipment. So the glove, the cloak, and the belt. Obviously, this gave me the most fishing speed possible, and basically in every single festival, I had maxed. I had hit the max cap of 300 fishing speed outside of Crimson Isles, and 100% sea creature chance at all time. For the armor, every single piece was recombobulated to Mythic and submerged. So my Magma Lord set and my Frozen Blaze set were all submerged Mythic for the most sea creature chance possible, obviously. Both sets did also have Bob in Time free on. This doesn't matter as much for Magma Lord because you can quite easily hit 100% sea creature chance with Magma Lord without using enrichments or a beacon. So Bob in Time didn't matter as much, especially with the Megalodon buff. For Frozen Blaze, it obviously mattered a bit more. Even with Magic Find enrichments on and Bob in Time with a full party of 6 people, I was maybe hitting around 95 sea creature chance even with Megalodon buff. So it's a bit hit or miss, and obviously if Marina doesn't have the 15 sea creature buff, it obviously becomes a bit more of a difficult process. But yeah, so that is my equipment used, and now we're moving on to the profit. Now on to the actual juicy part of the video, the profit breakdown. Now obviously to note, as you can see, the first 4 festivals were done when the Megalodon pet was still bugged, and I believe what the issue was that the Megalodon pet was actually giving 20 times the chance to catch sharks instead of 20%. It was something like the Diamond Trophy Hunter bug that was out for about half an hour after they pushed the Diamond and Gold Essence shop buff. So the first 4 fishing festivals obviously is more for the clickbait of this video, like I mentioned before. As you can see on my 3rd fishing festival, 61 great whites and 25 teeth. A bit of a ridiculous fishing festival. But yeah, so just to break down the profits overall, my first fishing festival did it on the 20th of March at 135. I did 47 great whites, 10 epic Megalodon pets, 8 legendary Megalodon pets, and 25 great white teeth, and 10.5 mil in Insta-Cell in my sacks. And that was done with a loot share barnfish. Now, my first festival, we weren't entirely sure what the strat was, so what we did was we barnfished, and then what happened was that we would get hits on the great whites with Dreadlord Sword. Now this wasn't exactly indicative of the actual performance of loot share when done in a party, just like with Witch Mask, because half of the time I didn't really get loot share, which is why Witch Mask is a bit more consistent and a bit more noted as being more consistent than doing Dreadlord Sword. And Dreadlord Sword would also accidentally like kill the sea creatures sometimes, which was a bit annoying because not everyone got loot share. In the second festival, I tested out the Frozen Blaze loot share, and obviously you can see the profit from that isn't as much. Only 9 epic, 6 legendary, 15 teeth. Still like, you know, a pretty decent festival, but you know, not as great as the solo blaze fishing. I probably gained about 1 to 2 more Skyblock XP and a few more bestiary progresses from the actual loot share parties compared to the actual solo barn fishing, like I mentioned earlier in the video. So that's something to note. On the 3rd festival, this is probably my best festival by far, considering I was solo and it was the first time I'd ever actually done solo barn fishing in like a long time. I caught 61 great whites, 10 epic megalodons, 6 legendaries, and 25 great white teeth, and another 10 mil in Insta-Cell. And then the 4th festival, this was obviously still with the bug. I tested out the loot share witch mask, and as you can see, not as great white luck this time, but you know, still a pretty decent amount of profit. And obviously something to note is that this fishing festival specifically was done during the spooky festival, so I could have actually caught more great whites probably and had more profit from, you know, the megalodons and all that kind of stuff had it not been spooky. But yeah, that's just something to note, obviously. And I got, you know, as you can see on the note, 2 soul frags from a Grim Reaper. And then actually on to the fishing festivals that I did outside of the megalodon bug. So I did 3 solo barn fishing sessions, averaged about 31 great whites overall, 5 epic megalodons every single time, about 3 to 4 legendary megalodons. I got really lucky on the first one I did after they fixed it, and then 13 great white teeth, 9, 11 and 9. And yeah, so basically all the way down at the bottom you can see every pet labeled up. So I got 60 epic megalodons overall, 34 legendary megalodons, 125 great white teeth, and I fished 316 great whites, and I made about 72 mil in Instacell sacks. It's a bit skewed, maybe because of the fact that I had some extra stuff in there from Instacell, but regardless, doesn't matter too much. So yeah, so overall in these 8 festivals, I have 30 mil in epic megalodons, 85 mil in legendary megalodons, selling them at 2.5 mil per to George. I could obviously get more for them if I waited for the price to go back up, which I probably will do. I still have them in my end chest. And 250 mil in great white teeth, and obviously that's profiting out to 437 million coins overall. So over the 8 fishing festivals, I made just under 55 mil an hour. And then obviously down the bottom you can see the profit without the bugged megalodon, and I made 43.4 million an hour, so getting close to the 45 million an hour mark. Now obviously if I hadn't Frozen Blades loot shed for the last event, this could have been higher, could have been 45, maybe even 50 potentially, because the downside of Frozen Blades is that you're not switching to a Magic Fan set, which means you're not getting as many drops and you're not taking advantage of like looting Daedalus axes and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, something to note there obviously. But yeah, so there's the profit breakdown. Very, very profitable 8 hours, and this just goes to show that even with the Megalodon nerfed, especially for mid to, you know, late game players, if you want to switch it up and get some free XP, you know, with the fishing festival, 100 XP that you can get from catching killing 5,000 of your own sharks, here you go. So yeah, that's going to be the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know this was a bit of a more of a long form video compared to the usual stuff that I release on this channel. I just thought it would be an interesting video to make, you know, to showcase, you know, the best ways to do these fishing festivals. And because I've seen a lot of discourse, and, you know, my own guild and other guilds, you know, everyone's trying to figure out what the best way is. And, you know, this is obviously not 100% set in stone. Obviously, you know, take everything I've said with a grain of salt. But yeah, so that's my experience, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. And yeah, this has been Lils, guys. Thank you very much. Peace out.